No. All right, we're going to start today, guys, with civil liberties. Okay, quiet down. Let's kind of make sure we got our notes out. Make sure we're ready to learn. So, civil liberties. What's a civil liberty? We talked about it last time, kind of an introduction.
Civil liberties are rights protected from infringement from the local, state, or government.
Good. Very good. So civil liberties, guys, are really important because there are rights that protect us from the government. Okay, from an overpowered government. Okay? So right here, just like you stated, individual rights protected by law from unjust government. Make sure we have that in our notes. Protection against government action. Also put in your notes, protection against government action. So from that definition there, who can think of a civil liberty that protects you on like a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Yeah.
The right to own property.
Yeah, good. The right to own property. So once you own that property, no one can take it away. The only way you get rid of it is if you obviously sell it, or if you pass away, you're going to have in your will who the property will go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Freedom of security
Freedom of security.
and speech.
Good. Speech, security.
To defend oneself.
Good. Yeah, well, absolutely. What about also like illegal searches and seizures from the police and from the government?
Yeah, because don't need a warrant, right?
Yeah, you need a warrant. So, 1 a.m. in the morning, the government or the police department can't just come down and knock down your door and come in your house, right? They need to have probable cause, which causes them to go to a judge to get a warrant, and the judge says, "You provided us with enough evidence and probable cause. Here's the warrant," right? So if a cop pulls you over, can they automatically search your car?
No.
No, good. They have to have probable cause, right? That something's going on. So good. We're going to get into some more civil liberties today. Let's keep going on, though. Make sure we got that definition in our notes. So, anyone know the difference between a civil right and a civil liberty? Civil right, civil liberty. They're kind of, lately some people will kind of use them interchangeably, but they are a little bit, there is a difference between a civil right and a civil liberty. Anyone know? Anyone? Think about civil rights. Think about what the civil rights movement was about. Discrimination.
I can guess if you want.
Yeah, you can take it. Yeah, why
Alright,
not? Take
I'll
a guess.
I'm guessing a civil right is something that, according to the Constitution, all citizens have to have, no matter what. And a civil liberty is something that is given to you by the government, but they can also take it away under some pretenses.
Good, yeah. You're on the right track. Civil liberties can definitely be taken away. They're given to us by the government. Okay, they're protections. Civil rights, though, guys, think about the civil rights case. So, with civil rights is, think about that kind of discrimination. Civil rights protect us against discrimination based on things such as ethnicity, gender, disability, race. There's some other things in there. So like civil rights, for example, when you go to a job interview, and in the interview process they bring up your age, like maybe you're applying for a certain job, but you might kind of be maybe a little old for that job. Can they bring up your age in the interview and how that's a problem? No, that's discrimination, right? So civil rights is basic rights. Put this in your notes. Civil rights are basic rights from discrimination, right? So discrimination on ethnicity, gender, disability, race, age, religion, things like that, right? So a job cannot discriminate against your religion, right? If you have a disability, they can't discriminate you, right? So when jobs hire you, they really have to, they can't be thinking about those things, and they can't really say those things in the interview, or you could actually potentially sue them. Civil liberties are basic freedoms, okay? So those are the differences. Civil liberties are freedoms that were given to protect us. Civil rights are rights that allow us to be free from discrimination. So when you think of civil rights, think about the civil rights movement, right? Discrimination based on race. Okay, can civil liberties be destroyed, and if so, how? Yeah.
Well, like, everyone has the civil liberty to, like, life, but if you kill someone and you're found guilty and they want to give you the death penalty, then they could take that life away and kill you.
Right. So civil liberties can be destroyed. That's one way. Another way, what about laws, right? Laws that are voted in. And this can be very, controversial, right? Because with different civil liberties, people, will say, and this is where it gets very, politicized, but some people will say, abortion is you're denying someone's right to life. Some people claim that's, not, and they have their different opinions on why that is. Anyone think about any other issues where civil liberties can be destroyed? Think about today, with big tech companies like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah.
Selling information to third parties.
Yeah, because right of privacy. But what else? Think about algorithms that Instagram used to promote certain things. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? We're gonna get into this with an example, but for example, tech companies now use algorithms like Twitter to promote certain things that might fit their political agenda. Is that destroying some type of freedom of speech because they're controlling what you see with their algorithms? Right? If something's certain hashtag, a certain thing, the algorithm will put it so not as many people see that post. Okay, so think about that. Is that a civil liberty being destroyed by censorship? It's called censorship. It's been in the news a lot with big tech companies. Obviously, big civil liberties can be expanded, right, with laws, but they can also be destroyed with laws. If laws are created that curtails a civil liberty. So, Claudia, can you read that first bullet point there?
Civil liberties are protected in the Bill of Rights and are also granted in the First Amendment.
Okay, Bill of Rights and the amendments are the amendments to the Constitution. That's where our civil liberties are going to be found. So, for example, the First Amendment lays out 5 civil liberties. Who can name them from the First Amendment? First Amendment, from our summaries, there's 5 civil liberties that it lays out. You got it? Do you know what one they are? At least one of them?
Freedom of press.
Good. What else?
Oh, freedom of press, speech.
Press.
Religion, the right to. Yeah.
Assemble.
Yeah.
Good. There's one more. Petition the government. Okay, meaning we can speak out against the government. So here's an example of some civil liberties from the First Amendment. All the amendments have civil liberties, right? Freedom of religion, freedom of the press, meaning the government doesn't control the press. The government can't censor the press. This is big because a lot of people say having a free press leads to keeping a free democracy. And how would that be?
It'd basically just be checking the government, so if they did anything bad, they could just tell the whole populace about it.
Yeah, you're right. It's a form of check and balance, right? If the press feels like something's not right, they can investigate and let the the citizens and everyone know what's going on, right? The government can't censor the press. Freedom of assembly, we can protest, assemble. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech seems like it's always being attacked, with hate speech and whatnot. And this is this is the hard thing with these civil liberties, guys, that we gotta understand is that if a law's made to, I guess, curtail or bring in a civil liberty, there's a lot of implications. There's a lot of talk right now about hate speech and making laws against hate speech, but then you have to define hate speech. So what is hate speech? And see how that can really create some issues, because now, let's say, for example, I teach about something, the problems of communism. Could someone classify that as hate speech,
Yeah.
right? And so the problem is when you try to hone in these civil liberties, it can create a lot of issues. Petition the government, we talked about kind of being able to protest what the government does, hold government leaders accountable, things of that nature. We have other civil liberties in the amendments, right? The right to bear arms, protection against unreasonable searches or seizures, protection of life, liberty, and property. Why is property so important to our way of life? Owning property, because property ownership is something that's not available in some other countries, right? In certain other countries, you don't have the right to own property. Why is property so important? Yeah.
It was intrinsic to like the start of the US when we started expanding and getting a lot of property. So if someone could come by and just take the property that you already claimed, there'd be a lot of problems.
No, yeah, and you're right. And part of it has to do with wealth and the way our economy is, being capitalism, right? Property denotes wealth. If you own property, you can sell it, because property values will rise and fall. If you sell your property when it's at the height of its value, you're gonna make money. You can rent the property out, right? Let's say you go down to the beach, Carlsbad, you buy a 2-bedroom house right by the beach, you can Airbnb that out and make a lot of money, right? So property has a lot to do with our way of life, with the economy, and like you said, the ability to own something and create wealth and create something for yourself, right? You buy a piece of land, you put a factory on it, that factory produces, let's say, light bulbs. You're making a living for yourself and for others. The right of accused persons in criminal cases, right? Like, such as, you're innocent till you're proven guilty. Things like that, in today's world, it's unfortunate, but it seems like with how the media is, it seems like sometimes people are guilty until they're proven innocent, but we gotta always remember that you're innocent until you're proven guilty. So, civil liberties throughout the Constitution, throughout the amendments there. Analyze this political cartoon here. What's this political cartoon implying, do you guys think? Can somebody in the front read us the political cartoon, what the cops are saying and what's on the cops' piece of paper for those in the back that can't see?
We're supposed to knock and announce, yeah, sure, and then he holds a paper saying, but it's okay if you don't, Supreme Court.
So what's this political cartoon implying? What amendment to the Constitution is this political cartoon talking about, first of all?
The Fourth Amendment.
Right, so this political cartoon is implying what about the Fourth Amendment?
The police.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's showing this it doesn't matter, this political cartoon shows that our Fourth Amendment rights have been under attack, right? There's been certain court cases that have gone to the Supreme Court that are trying to attack our Fourth Amendment rights. So this political cartoon right there, like you said, Michael, it's denoting that it doesn't matter, showing that there's been cases where there's been some court cases recently attacking the Fourth Amendment. So, what we're going to do, guys, we got a little activity that we're going to do now. And it's going to involve you guys working on your Chromebooks to create, I'm going to show you in just a second. Okay, so, civil liberties news article, okay? You're just gonna get this piece of paper. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get on your Chromebooks and you're gonna find a news article that has to do with the civil liberty, okay? If you wanna go through the amendments of the Constitution to look at all the civil liberties, but you're gonna Google search for news articles that have to do with the civil liberty, okay? Right here I found one about freedom of speech and with what I talked about, big tech companies granting or taking away basically posts with their algorithms. And some people are saying that they're censoring free speech because big tech companies have a political narrative that they're trying to establish. And this article talks about this, talks about how the algorithms will work and how like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook will censor certain things that they don't want, and how some are claiming that that's a violation of freedom of speech. So, for example, if you were to pick this article, you would read it, and then with this piece of paper here, which is the assignment, it's going to be due tomorrow, you're going to go through, for example, number one, what civil liberty is being expanded or curtailed? Okay, so I would talk about how this article talks about freedom of speech and how it's being curtailed with big tech companies. Curtailed meaning it's being shrunk, it's being attacked. Okay, how and why? I would cite reasons from this article. How this article is talking about how the civil liberty is being attacked, why it's being attacked. The next thing is it necessary and why? Is it necessary for this civil liberty to be expanded, or should it be honed in a little bit? Should there be laws to kind of bring in the civil liberty and not let it be so big and sprawling? Okay, and why? You're going to kind of state your opinion on that. Okay, second, on the back it says, what is your opinion of this article? Kind of give us your opinion of this article and what the civil liberty that's it's talking about. How did you gain that opinion, all right? Talk about how you came to the opinion that you have with this article. You can cite, things within the article or things that help you gain your opinion. And then the last one is, do you think the civil liberty needs to be expanded or curtailed? Do you think, for example, freedom of speech, I'm going to put, do I think this civil liberty needs to be expanded, or does it need to be honed in a little bit? Is there, and then, with that last part it says, is there danger in expanding or curtailing this civil liberty? Meaning, is there danger in setting laws to monitor freedom of speech? Is there danger in that? Does it need to happen? You might want to, So, this, I found this article on this website. I'm going to leave this up here. I found this article. Let me pull up here on this New York Times website, if I can find my cursor. Hold on, guys, sorry. Oops. Did anyone see the cursor? Oh, there it is. So I found this website. The URL's up here, but if you go to the New York Times, there's a section where it says American Civil Liberties Union, and it has a bunch of news articles here about different civil liberties that are either being attacked or expanded. Most of these articles are about civil liberties that are coming under attack. You might be able to find some through Google searches that talk about how civil liberty is being expanded, but most of the time, these news articles are going to talk about these civil liberties that are being attacked. Okay? So you're going to be working on your Chromebooks, and working on this piece of paper. Tomorrow, everyone's just going to give up and just give us like a quick 1 minute, 30-second summary of their civil liberty and kind of talk about it for about a minute. So sound good? All right, so let's grab our Chromebooks. I'm going to pass these papers out, and let's get started. When we're done with the Chromebooks today, let's make sure we plug them in. So I'm going to leave this up here, guys. You can use Google, or if you want to go right to this website to see the different articles that are stated, it's New York Times. And if you go to topic, and then like American Civil Liberties Union, you'll find articles there.
When it says, is this necessary? Is that talking about the...
Like, so for example, is this necessary, guys? With my article, I would talk about, is it necessary for Instagram and Twitter to use algorithms to take away certain posts or to kind of expand certain posts so more people see the post? Is that necessary, in my opinion? Why is it necessary if I believe it's necessary? You know, I can put in there that no, I don't think it's necessary, I think that's a violation of free speech, then I gotta state why though. Why would it be a violation of free speech, or why is this necessary? It's kind of more of an opinion piece there, but state the facts, state how you guys came to your conclusion. So, if you guys need help finding articles, I'm more than happy to help you. But use your Chromebook